public thing is not my thing. It never has been, but I would do anything for certain people. And I want to share with you really quick, the things that we have been able to accomplish, because when I do sneak peeks, I always start with that. And I think to myself, if you want to go into business with someone, or if you want to go into business with someone who's done the business, you need to know that they've accomplished things. So give me just a second to share with you a few of the things that we've been able to accomplish, and then I'm going to take you back to the very beginning. We are a two-time 15-star team, really working on that 3-time. We're almost at 10-star in that third business center. We do have 13 business centers that we manage. We've been a coach for 11 years. We have been an elite coach. Right now, we are the only team that's been elite 10 times. And maybe Julie will hit it this year, but if not, we will be the only team that hits it, that has that title. We're the only team that has been 7-time elite. And right now we sit at number 4 in the company again, so maybe we'll be able to hit 8-time top 10. We hit the Millionaires Club 3 years in. We were able to retire Mick 3 years in. And both of our children are coaches and make 6-figure incomes themselves. They are financially free. It's our goal to set them up. And Mick always says this all the time, and it's something I want you to really understand, that if you're in BeachBody right now and maybe you're digging in at the moment, but you're like, gosh, I don't know if I want to do this for 10 years. You don't have to. It could be something that you can dive into, get into the best shape of your life, love what you do for the time frame that fits in your life, but it could be something that sets you up to do what you want to do maybe 10 years down the road. Maybe you want to open a gym. Maybe you want to go to third world countries and help people, and this can fund that for you. So just understand that this can serve you for a lifetime, or it can just serve you right now if that's better for you. So I'm going to go all the way back. I'm talking all the way back to when I was conceived. That's how far back we're going. My father served in Vietnam, and he was exposed to Agent Orange. And in that process, it's this craziest story, and it's something I completely ignored and I didn't share for 42 years of I'm 45 now. Shoot, 42, 43 years. I didn't share it with anybody. I thought, being a fitness professional, I had to be perfect. So it took me a while to get to this point. So if you have a story, and as I'm telling my story, you're like, I'm afraid to share it, let me tell you, that's what sets you apart, that's what makes you relatable, and that's what builds these bonds and these relationships with people that you would never otherwise have. So he served in Vietnam, was exposed to Agent Orange, but the cool thing about Agent Orange is it sits dormant in your fat cells. So, he ingested it and just kind of sat in the fat cells, and he had a little bit of a belly. He decided to become a helicopter pilot, and in order to be a helicopter pilot, you have to be a certain weight. So he went on a crash diet. This Agent Orange came out of the fat cells, came into the bloodstream. I was conceived, and then when I was born 9 months later, severe birth defects. I had severe birth defects on my feet. Where's Nicole? So when you talked about feet, I was like, I got you. Severe birth defects on my feet, and I have a huge scar on my right arm. If you guys have seen me in Payo or Turbo Fighter or any of that, you don't see it, but it's there. I had a huge skin graft at the age of 8. But when I was born, the bones in my feet were so rapidly growing, they didn't know what else to do except to tell my parents they would have to amputate at the ankle to stop the bone growth. So my parents went to a doctor, that's what that doctor said. The next doctor said the same thing. The third doctor said the same thing. And so finally my mom looked at my dad and said, let's try one more doctor. And if this doctor says the same thing, that we're gonna have to amputate at the feet, we're gonna have to succumb to it, and that's what's gonna have to happen. Thank goodness. This doctor said, I don't know if I can save her feet, but we can try. So he just started whittling away at the bone, and I had 9 surgeries, one after another. We just kept breaking bone, repositioning bone, taking bone out, all this stuff. And he said, I think we can save her feet. So I had my feet. They're pretty funky looking, but I had my feet. But he told my parents she'd never be able to walk or wear shoes. So they expected that. But at 14 months, I had casts up to here. I was getting into trouble, shocker. And my mom yelled my name, Miss, which somebody just said in the bathroom too, you're gonna get in trouble because you kept calling me Missy. And they're like, who's Missy? That's my nickname. My mom calls me Miss or Missy. So when he said Missy, that's my nickname. But she yelled, "Miss!" And I stood up and I started walking toward her with my cast on at 14 months. And she says she hasn't been able to slow me down since. So I could walk, but my mom did what she thought was the right thing. And the doctor said, you gotta keep her down. You know, she can't run, she can't jump, she can't play sports or anything like that. So I was really kind of held down as a child. And my father passed away when I was almost 6 years old, in active duty in a helicopter crash. And he was the man in my life before this one that taught me to be a fighter. I'll tell you a story of kids were teasing me because my feet did look different and kids are mean. And so I came home crying and he handed me a baseball bat. He said, "Go get him." I start running after these kids and my mom's like, "No!" to take the baseball bat from me. But he taught me to be strong and to stick up for myself. But then he passed away. And my mom, who's an introvert like me and quiet, did the opposite. And so she grabbed me and she coddled me and she taught me how to hide and how to be in a corner and not to be seen and not to be heard. And if I don't put myself in situations where I'll be uncomfortable, then I don't have to try to get out of that uncomfortable situation. So that's how I grew up. I am legitimately socially awkward. Very hard for me. And in fact, I was at Sean T. I was at his retreat in France, and two ladies, it was just a retreat of 15 women, and two of them came up to me after I kind of shared my story and talked about the introvert that I am. And they're like, "Oh my goodness, kind of thought you were just snobby, you know, and that you were unapproachable," was the words that they used, and that broke my heart, because I'm anything. I want to hug every single one of you, and I know I come across that way, but that's just because of my past, so it was a really hard thing to overcome. So if you're telling me right now that you're an introvert, you're uncomfortable talking to strangers, that's not an excuse. You absolutely can. So moving on, growing up, I didn't play sports, I didn't do anything. When we met, he was the athlete, and he was in great shape, and he ate pretty healthy, pretty clean, and what was I eating?
French fries and Coke.
Yeah, French fries, Coke, Doritos. I played Super Mario Brothers like nobody's business. I was an expert Super Mario Brothers player, and so we met when I was a sophomore in high school and he was a senior. We're high school sweethearts, and he kind of got me interested in eating a little bit better and moving. So as soon as I got out of my mom's house and I got on my own, I started going to the gym and I started exercising, and I fell in love with it. And then we had kids together. And the introvert that I was so excited because, oh my goodness, here's the opportunity for me to get out of the house, or to be able to stay in the house, and raise two kids and not have to talk to people, because I don't want to talk to people, didn't like people. But it starts to wear on you. You got 2 or more kids, 18 months apart, it was getting old. So I decided to go to the gym because the child care was free and I could have an hour to myself. So I loved taking the classes. And then I started getting good at it, and I got up to the front of the room, and I was like, I want to do what she does. And I don't want to do what she did because she was in the limelight, or because she had the microphone, or everybody attention was on her, but I loved her ability to inspire people. She motivated me every day to go to the gym and work out. I'm like, I want to do that. So I became an instructor. And then I became a master trainer for Chalene Johnson, because when you find something that you love and you're driven, you always want to kind of level up with it, right? So first I was taking the classes, and then I got really good at them. And then I became an instructor. You guys, I sucked so bad. I don't know how many people are in here, but the class was about the size. And I had my back to the class, and I'm teaching, and I hear all this noise back here, and I'm like, wow, this is really echoey. And then when I finally turned around and looked up, there were 4 people left. Like 40 people walked out of the class. It was horrible, but I went back because I loved it. But becoming a master trainer with Chalene Johnson, and then she became a celebrity trainer for BeachBody, and she said, you guys should, become coaches, because it takes what you love to do in the gym, and it makes it so you can help people exponentially. Because here I was, stuck in this demographic of 15 miles. So I could help the people that were within 15 miles of me, and it was always the same faces. And I love those faces, but it was always the same faces. I wanted to help more people. I really wanted to make a dent. And so by becoming a coach, It allowed me to take my love of motivating people, holding them accountable, helping them with their nutrition, and do it online. And so I just started doing these little challenge groups. Like I told, the VIP group was kind of one of the first people to do these accountability groups. And it started taking off. And even though we had hardly any programs at all, or any products at all, what mattered was the environment that I made for these people. And they either stayed, I still have customers from the very beginning, 10 years ago, still have customers, or I started creating a community of people that wanted to do what I was doing because it was the one thing that worked for them, because they had that encouragement. So it started taking off. And I'll skip because he kind of told the whole story. My first check was $16. I was very proud of it. I didn't have to ask to borrow money to buy a pizza. Instead it was me. And then it organically started rolling and rolling and rolling to the point that we did go for a walk, and I was able to say, I think I can retire you. And I did focus and made that difference in our income so that I could bring him home. And what I've grown to learn in this business is people want community. I did share with the VIPs as well that you could have looked past me, or Michelle, my upline, could have looked past me and said, because he makes a great income or because she's already fit, this isn't good for her. But what I have learned, Lauren Fitzgerald is my coach. If you know who she is, she was a doctor, right? And she had her own brand, and she did find me, but you can't guess what it is. As an anesthesiologist, that was a lot of school. That was a lot of money. And she realized a couple of years in it wasn't for her. So she quit medicine to do this because this is where she wants to be, because she is being able to touch people financially, or physically, that she never could before, because she was prescribing pills and helping people go under to do surgeries that could have been prevented through lifestyle. And now she's on the other end of it. And that's meaning, and that's what she wants. So if you have that meaning to really want to help people change their circumstances, you can do that through this. I mean, we started off just in the United States, then we obviously went to Canada, the UK, and now France, and then Germany, and Spain, and I know, of course, Mexico will come, and Australia will come. So you can really set your intention to be global and to help people, and it starts with number one, you being a product of the product. When I first started, I was an instructor. And so I wasn't necessarily a product to the product, but I was teaching our classes in the gym. So if you are a gym person, I highly encourage that maybe you get trained and become an instructor and teach inside the gym. It's a great way to reach people. You can do it. You can even get Transform Live certified if you want, if you like the workout that we're doing today. It's so simple. It's such an easy way to connect with people and help you become a little less introverted. I've run challenge groups for 10 years. They've helped me. I'm 45 and I'm in better shape today than I definitely was in my 30s, definitely was in my 20s, and it's because of I hold myself to that standard that I have to help people. So first and foremost, do this for you, and it's going to help keep you in the best shape of your life. It's going to bleed into the people that you know and you love, and then it's going to help you find people that you don't even know yet that will eventually become friends of yours in order for you to be successful at this. This business is very simple. There's no secret. It's hard work in the fact that it's so much easier to sit on the couch than it is to push play. It is easier to go through the drive-thru than it is to make that salad. But if you're consistent and you commit to doing the things that are a little bit harder, people will notice. And if you put yourself out there in a way that people understand you, if I give you a little bit of social media advice, if you're thinking of becoming a coach, it's as simple as you doing 3 things. Inspire people. Maybe it's through a quote. Maybe it's a story of your past. Maybe it's somebody else's story, right? Number 2, educate them. Find what it is that you are kind of an expert in. You don't even have to be an expert in anything health and fitness, but why are you the go-to person? And if you don't know, like, I really don't know, ask your spouse, ask your best friend, ask your parents, ask your children. They're brutally honest. What is it You know, what is it that mommy does that's different than other mommies? You know, hopefully it's good. Hopefully you get a good answer from that. But that is right there, that's your specialty. Own it, put yourself out there, brand yourself. There's a lot of people on social media, but there's only one you. There's hundreds of millions of people, you know, trying to make themselves be seen on social media. There's millions of people in the health and fitness realm, right? There's hundreds of thousands of coaches. So how are you gonna set yourself apart? And it's really not that hard. You just have to look in the mirror, or you have to turn to your left or right, look at your friend and say, what just sets me apart? And run with that one thing that makes you a little bit different. I was telling the VIPs, for me, I had no idea. Shirley Johnson asked me, she said, you're always camera ready. That's how she put it. She says, you know, you don't have to diet before we do one of our fitness videos. She says, you're the only one. What do you do different? I don't know. She said, seriously, think about it. What do you do? And I was like, I was walking through the mall when I was talking to her. I so remember this. It was life-changing for me. I was like, I don't eat breakfast. She's like, oh my God, that's it. I don't eat breakfast. So then I learned that I had been an intermittent faster for 20 years, and I had no idea that it was a thing. And so we ran with that. And I did a podcast with her 5 years ago about it. And it's so funny now, because if you follow Shalene, you see that she's really big into it. But at that time, she was just like, I could never not eat breakfast. I get up so early in the morning, I have to have, it was cute, you know, little tiny blonde thing telling me that she didn't understand it. And now it's become a thing. But because I position myself as an expert, it's what I use to build this business. And listen to me, it's not a BeachBody thing. It doesn't have to be a BeachBody thing. It's a you thing. He always jokes that there's a chance that Shakeology, that people could find out there's crack cocaine in it. I don't know if I said that out loud. There's not. Jonathan Gilfan, there's not. We're not saying there is. But there could be something wrong, and BeachBody could go under. And what would we have done to have saved ourselves? Think about that. You have to create a brand for you, and that's fun. You don't want to be a carbon copy of 300,000 other people anyway, right? And the reason why I'm still doing this 11 years later is because I love what I do, because I'm truly being authentically me. So don't try to be that perfect coach that you see. I'll use Melanie, my friend Melanie Mitchell. She is the poster child for the perfect coach. She's so organized, she's adorable, she's a great mom, she's a great wife. She's had a great transformation, but I'm not Melanie, and I would never try to be Melanie. She's doing a great job being her all by herself, and I don't want to be Melanie, I want to be me. So find that thing that sets you apart and run with it. And I use the example sometimes of maybe you love to horseback ride, right? And you're like, well, how can I take horseback riding with being a coach and building a business that way? Well, what if you were to just share all the things about horseback riding that you love, and you're attracting all these people that love horseback riding as well? What do people who horseback ride want? Well, they want to be light, right? The lighter they are, the easier it is on the horse. They want to be agile. They want to be flexible. Is that some things that you could offer people that coincide with being a horseback rider? Absolutely. So I don't care what you do, health and fitness can be a part of that. So own who you are, and you'll be able to grow a business from that. So I was kind of watching. I know we're a little bit late because we're going to do our workout at noon. But I did want to ask, because I did this with the VIPs, and somebody always, 2 or 3 people always ask really good questions that I know is on all of your mind right now. So if I can have like 2 or 3 people ask a question for me, I would love to share with you anything that you would like to know.
I happen to have 4 questions.
Okay, 4.
Yes. If anyone does not, they can look at the question. And this is the Scott Pop questions that coaches ask for when you answer.
Okay.
How much does it cost to get started as a coach? And do I have to stock up on inventory?
Good question. It's like Mick said, it's around $5,000 to get started. It's $39.95 to get started, but from personal experience and coaching thousands and thousands of successful coaches, you're not going to get anywhere with the $40 because you are already not showing that you're proof the products work. So we always encourage a challenge pack, which is anywhere from $140 up, and that by itself is about a bag of Shakeology. But you get a challenge pack, which means you get BeachBody on demand for a whole year, and you get, and this is what for all of my coaches out there now, you get Shakeology for a month to try for free. there's something about that terminology that resonates. You get BeachBody on demand for a year, and then you also get a bag of Shakeology to try for free for a month, right? Sounds pretty good. So it's about $160 to get started, 0 inventory. He's grateful. Nothing. We don't have inventory, we don't do shipping, we don't do returns, nothing. You are just the face, the liaison, the proof that what we do works. You've got the logistics side, and then you've got the people that need what we have, and you're the person in the middle bringing the two together.
I'm not a salesperson, not a great salesperson. Do I need to be? Part 2 of that, do I need to know a lot about fitness and nutrition?
Good, okay, that's like him. He told the honest to goodness truth. I'm like, why can't you coach? Go get some coaches. And he did. He signed up people selling people on the great business opportunity and how much money you could make. And those people, as soon as they really understood what it was, ran and had nothing to do with this. Because number one, you have to take them through that journey of what we are and who we are as a lifestyle. And number two, if they've already started that, then you help them with the confidence to help other people. So, and that doesn't come from, personal development takes time. Okay, so when somebody starts in this business, or you're brand new in this business and you're like, well, I'm not organized, I'm not good with time management, I'm afraid to hear the word no, all that stuff, personal development is gonna help you with that, but it's gonna take a little bit of time. Number one, to get through the audio or to get through the book, and number two, for it to really sink in. And so choosing a coach that you know will be there for you to help remind you, you can do this, I believe in you, let's go, is everything in the beginning. So find somebody, and even if it's not, if you're already a coach and maybe your upline isn't quite there, reach higher, reach higher. I promise you will find someone up there that will be there for you to remind you every day that you are important. And how, with health and fitness, it's funny. I've been a top 10 coach 7 times, and every time we go on our top 10 coaches, we all sit in a circle, little kumbaya session, and we all tell our stories. And 9 times out of 10, literally, I'm the only one that's so educated in fitness and nutrition. That's the successful one. The other 9 have these amazing stories coming from addiction, abuse, sickness, that have come to where they are. The only thing that is going to make you successful in this business is your passion for helping other people, sharing your story, and showing that what we do works. You are not the expert. That's what BeachBody pays the big bucks for Sean to be the expert, for Joel to be the expert, for Autumn to be the expert, and for all of the nutritionists that we have on board, the doctors, the research and development team. That's done for you. You don't have to be the expert. You just have to be the inspiration that reminds somebody, just like these two. You know, they had each other. Somebody has to be there for that person to remind them every single day that they're worth it, because it's so easy to remind yourself, well, this is easier, I want to go back to this. When you got somebody there to remind you, you're worth it, keep going. That's all the difference.
Do I need to be good with social media and have a lot of social media followers?
I had 200 friends on Facebook when I started. That was it. 200 friends on Facebook. And I'll share with you my best advice. Absolutely not. I have it was Danielle. After Summit, she did this little thingy, and she had a coach that's turning 1-star, working on 2-star, which is pretty up there. That's leadership material right there. And she has 800 friends on Facebook. It's not how many followers you have, it's how well you connect with the ones that you have. So that's number one. And number two, what I said before about being a brand and putting yourself out there, you're gonna attract the right people. So even if you start off small, if you put yourself out there authentically, you educate, you inspire, or you entertain people. He's my entertainment. Him and my bobcats are my entertainment. I'm not funny. He is, and my cats are entertaining. So I use them to draw people into me. And so that's the 3 things that you want to do. And if you are just, it's the 80% rule. 80% of your social media is what you love to do, your lifestyle, what you're passionate about, and 20% is sales. Okay, 20% is you talking about a challenge group or a challenge pack or coming to one of these events. But 80% is giving your knowledge away for free and attracting people to follow you just because you help them on a day-to-day basis. They won't mind the 20% here. You want to come in a challenge group, whether they do or not. They won't mind it if 80% is of value, if that makes sense. Okay,
Is BeachBody a pyramid scheme?
yes, it's not working for me. I have to do the disclaimer of everybody's, I don't even know it. Yes, there's no guarantee, but we've generated over $10 million doing this business, and we've done it 100% from our hearts, helping other people. Our team has one of the highest retention rates in the company because people come in and they find a home. Because even if they just want to be a discount coach, they're happy. There's a good community there, there's honesty there, there's legitimacy there. It's not. If you think about where we're going, and if you want to say anything, because you're the business guy, we have, everything is digital. The outfit I'm wearing, I bought online. The last car he bought for me, he bought online. We have tires show up at our front door online. I was blown away when I saw that Sears was closing because everything is digital. I buy everything on Amazon, right? Yes, groceries. Yeah. Everything is online. And I have been in the fitness industry for 20 years, and I've been able to help people exponentially more through my accountability groups online than I have in the gym, because they come and I get them to sweat for an hour, and then they walk out the door and I have no idea where they're going or what they're doing. But this environment allows me to be there for them 6 days a week. I unplug Sunday, 6 days a week, all throughout the day to remind them, keep going, where I couldn't do that in the class. So this is so legitimate. And just speaking from a business standpoint, Uber, Etsy, Airbnb, BeachBody's the biggest name in health and fitness digitally. You've joined the right company, and it's going to go nowhere but up because everybody is going digital. And so fitness is absolutely no different. Somebody had a, yes, ma'am.
What's your favorite personal development?
Okay, I'm gonna get real with you on that, okay? So for new coaches or for people that are thinking of obviously the slight edge or the compound effect, because I think people need to understand those little decisions you make every day are gonna make a huge difference over time. I think that's really important. John Maxwell is actually coming out with a network marketing book. John Maxwell is the king of leadership, and he's never done anything directed toward network marketing, but he's just about done with his book. That's gonna be an amazing book, so I'm really excited for that. But personal development for me is usually nutrition books. I mean, I will always listen to podcasts, or I will listen to an audiobook, or I will read a little bit online about leadership, or apparently I need to do more organization, but leadership and those kind of things. But personal development for me, because that's my brand, I love to learn about how nutrition changes the body. And so when I sit down and I read a book, that's my personal development. So I think it's very personal. You have to assess, or again, ask the people that love you, where can I use improvement on? And there's a personal development book for everything. And you can find a great book that will help you personally. But to start off with, definitely the compound effect or the slight edge. Good question, thank you.
Anybody else have a question?
Okay.
Go.
So, how do you decide when you're inviting, when to talk about coaching opportunities?
Right away for me. Yeah, because right away, it's always before we sign on the dotted line, I want you to know about the opportunity. Some people call it a VIP member, some people call it a discount coach. You can make up any words you want, but really what it is offering somebody, especially with Morning Meltdown coming, if they're committing to 100 workouts, which is at least going to be 60 days, they're going to save so much money on their Shakeology by being a discount coach those 2 months than they would by paying retail. So it's a disservice, in my opinion, to not give them that option, and 100% without any care in the world, let them choose whether they want to purchase retail, if they want to do discount, or if they even want to, along their journey, have me teach them how to share what they're doing with other people.
Like active coaching, like they're asking them all of this discount.
Okay.
But like when you talk to them about
Every month, I will follow up with my discount coaches or those that are in, and I will ask, how are you feeling about this? Tell me where you are. So, because it's so individual, but every month I will follow up.
Someone over here had a question.
Hi.
Hi, what is so your challenge groups?
Yes.
Because you're the queen of challenge groups. How, do you work in the app, do you work in Facebook groups? And what is the best way to keep your challengers engaged? And when they go MIA, how do you bring them back?
Right, okay. So for those of you that are here as guests, a challenge group is what we call, it's really just an accountability group. A lot of us run them on Facebook. We also have an app where you can run an accountability group 100% on an app, which is really cool. And they can be an ongoing group. They could be a group that has a start and a finish date. I do a start and finish date for my accountability groups. They're 5 weeks long. We have a 1 week prep, 4 weeks of me every single day going in there, doing what I need to do to keep them going. And like I shared with the VIPs, it's very important, I think, that you remember that these are human beings and not just people that want to get healthy. So put in things that really get them talking to one another, partner them up, put other people in control. Like say, hey, I really want you to take care of the Motivational Monday post for me. You're motivating the group so much. I'd love for you to do that. Put them in control, because then they feel a piece of ownership in this accountability group. So there are some people who, it happens to me all the time, where I'm like, these people have ghosted my challenge group, and I'll reach out and they're like, I'm down 15 pounds, this is so wonderful, sorry I haven't posted much, but I'm there. And I'm like, oh, okay. There's just some people who are quiet and maybe don't want to be real present in the group, but it's still important to them. But take advantage of the ones that are very vocal, use them, because you're not only that, but you're grooming them to be coaches themselves. And it's a very easy segue for you to say, hey, you're doing such an amazing job in this group anyway. Maybe consider doing what I'm doing because you're so good at it. And so, did that answer your question? Yes, okay.
We have time for one more question. Anyone, one question?
You better delay, because then we're gonna work out. I'm like, kick your butt.
Right back here.
Okay, I have a question, like, if you're really, really shy and you really don't reach out to people, how did you get yourself to do that?
I don't know anything about being shy. I can't answer
Very shy.
that. Practice. I'll be honest with you. In the beginning, I thought to myself, if my content is good enough, if my body looked good enough, people would come to me. They would flood to me, and I wouldn't ever have to ask anybody, because I'm very uncomfortable with the sales part of it, right? Kind of worked, kind of didn't. It's like I told the VIPs again, you have to put yourself out there, and you always have to have a call to action. If you write a post, maybe about your childhood, put a call to action at the end. If this resonates with you and you want to join a community of people that understand what it's like to have gone through that, message me. Right? Or you do it directly. You say, every month I run accountability groups where I help people with their nutrition, their mindset, their fitness, supplementation. If you struggle with any of those, reach out to me for more information. Give people that call to action, because especially for us women, it's a very uncomfortable thing to say, I can't do this by myself. I'm failing to take care of myself and I need someone to help me. Nobody wants to admit that. And so being shy, share whatever you can. Like some people will tell me, I'm not comfortable sharing a picture of my body on social media. I'm like, cool, take a picture of your bicep, post your arm, right? Maybe you have a transformation of how your bicep is getting bigger. It doesn't have to be your whole body. Do what you're comfortable with, but put yourself out there a little bit each day, and you're gonna get more and more comfortable with it. Stories came out on Instagram, and it took me 6 months to use them, because I would do a story and I'd be like, oh my God. I couldn't do it. It took me 6 months of practice to get it right, and I'm still working on it. So be patient with yourself, to try, and just know that you don't have to give them all, and always give them a call to action. Because if you don't, they'll watch you, they'll admire you, they'll want to work with you. But if you don't give them the opportunity to reach out to you, they won't.